You take another bite of that crispy Chick-fil-A sandwich, there's something you need to hear. The clean branding, friendly service, and polished image might make it look like the gold standard of fast food, but behind the smiles and sauce packets is a different story. From processed chicken and hidden additives to controversial donations and high-pressure work culture, there's a lot happening behind the counter that the average customer never sees. Today, we're breaking down the truth about what really goes into Chick-fil-A's food, business practices, and how it all affects you, whether you're standing in line or pulling up to the drive-thru. What you learn in the next few minutes might change how you look at this fast food giant forever. When you hear the name Chick-fil-A, you probably picture crispy golden chicken that feels like it was cooked fresh with care. But what most customers don't realize is that the chicken they're eating has gone through a lot more than just simple seasoning and frying. The chicken is heavily processed before it ever reaches the kitchen. It's usually injected or marinated with a solution that contains water, salt, sugar, and other additives designed to boost flavor, moisture, and shelf life. This process is known in the food industry as plumping, and it helps cheapen the meat while making it taste more juicy, but it also means you're eating chicken that's been altered before cooking. These additives can include substances like monosodium glutamate MSG alternatives or phosphates, which are flavor enhancers and moisture binders. While they may not be harmful in small amounts, they give the impression that the meat is more natural or higher quality than it really is. And because Chick-fil-A doesn't openly advertise these ingredients, most people think they're just eating plain chicken breast. On top of that, the meat is processed in massive facilities, meaning it's far from farm to table freshness. Even though the final product tastes good, what's inside isn't as simple or clean as you might think. The image of wholesome hand-prepared chicken is powerful, but the truth is that a lot of science and processing goes into every bite, whether customers realize it or not. Chick-fil-A proudly advertises that its chicken is antibiotic-free, which sounds like a promise of cleaner, healthier meat. But there's a detail most customers miss. The label "No antibiotics ever" only applies to the later stages of the chicken's life, not necessarily the beginning. In the poultry industry, there's a legal loophole that allows hatcheries to give antibiotics to chicks even before they hatch. These early doses are often used to prevent disease in overcrowded or unsanitary environments, and they aren't always tracked as part of the animal's later medical record. Once the chicks are moved to growers that supply companies like Chick-fil-A, the antibiotic-free policy kicks in. But by that time, the animals may have already been exposed. This creates confusion for customers who see the antibiotic-free label and assume the chickens were raised without any medication at all. In reality, the term is more of a marketing strategy than a clear guarantee. And while Chick-fil-A did make progress toward removing antibiotics from their meat supply, enforcement depends on suppliers following every rule, and that's not always easy to monitor in such a large supply chain. So while the company uses the label to make the food sound healthier and more natural, the actual process still leaves room for early antibiotic exposure that never gets mentioned. It's one of those fine print issues that the average customer never sees, but it plays a big role in how that chicken was raised and treated before it ever hit the fryer. A lot of people think Chick-fil-A's chicken tastes so good because it's simply seasoned and cooked fresh. But what most customers don't realize is that the flavor comes from a mix of hidden ingredients that aren't talked about openly. The breaded chicken you bite into is more than just chicken, flour, and spices. It often contains added sugars, MSG-style flavor enhancers, and preservatives designed to boost taste, preserve texture, and make the meat feel juicier. For example, Chick-fil-A uses a seasoning blend that includes dextrose, a form of sugar, which helps the chicken brown evenly and gives it a slightly sweet taste. That's not something you'd expect in a savory fried chicken sandwich. Alongside that, there are natural flavors and yeast extract, which act like MSG by enhancing the overall savoriness of the meat. These ingredients trick your brain into thinking the food is fresher or higher quality than it actually is. And even though they're listed on the ingredient label, most people don't know what they mean or what they do. Some of the additives are also used to extend the shelf life or make the product easier to cook in bulk. It's part of a larger system of food engineering that's more about consistency and cost than real freshness. So while your sandwich might taste great, that flavor is carefully designed in a lab, not just from a simple recipe. Once you understand how these ingredients work, it's clear that what you're eating is far more processed than Chick-fil-A's wholesome image would have you believe. One of the biggest myths about Chick-fil-A is that everything is freshly made when you order it. The ads and in-store experience suggest that their chicken is hand-breaded, made to order, and cooked cooked with care. While some of that is true on the surface, the part they don't emphasize is how much of the food is pre-prepped or even frozen before it hits the fryer. Chick-fil-A's chicken is usually marinated and breaded in store, but the actual meat arrives to the restaurant already processed, portioned, and often frozen or refrigerated in vacuum-sealed bags. This helps the chain serve food quickly and consistently, but it also means your fresh sandwich may have started as a frozen block that was sitting in cold storage for days or weeks. The pressure cooking method used in many of their locations makes it possible to cook meat straight from a chilled or frozen state without compromising too much on texture. It's fast, efficient, and works well in a high-volume setting, but it's not the kind of made-from-scratch cooking most people imagine. And when you add in the seasoning blends, oil coatings, and batter mixes that come pre-made from suppliers, you start to see that the process is more industrial than home-style. Chick-fil-A is excellent at creating the feeling of a fresh meal, but behind the scenes, a lot of steps are automated, pre-packaged, or pre-measured long before the food reaches your tray. So while you might think you're eating something that was made just for you, you're really getting a reheated product built for speed and consistency, not true freshness. Chick-fil-A presents a clean, family-friendly image, but behind that polished brand is a supply chain that raises serious questions, especially when it comes to how the animals are treated before they become food. The chicken served at most fast food restaurants, including Chick-fil-A, often comes from large-scale industrial farms known for raising animals in overcrowded conditions. While Chick-fil-A claims to work with responsible suppliers, many of those suppliers have faced criticism over how chickens are bred, handled, and processed. In some past investigations into poultry suppliers, chickens were shown living in dark, packed barns with little space to move, often forced to grow unnaturally fast, which can lead to health problems, deformities, and suffering. Even if Chick-fil-A doesn't directly own these facilities, they rely on massive producers that prioritize quantity and speed over animal welfare. The faster chickens grow, the faster they're processed and sent out to restaurants, meaning higher profits and lower costs. But that system often comes at the cost of ethical treatment. The birds are typically slaughtered in high-speed plants, where humane handling is difficult to guarantee. While Chick-fil-A might enforce certain standards on paper, the truth is that monitoring every farm, every bird, and every shipment is nearly impossible. Customers think they're supporting a kind, respectful brand, but the reality of industrial farming behind the scenes tells a very different story, one that doesn't show up on the menu board. Chick-fil-A's waffle fries are one of their most popular menu items, often praised for their crisp texture and unique shape. What many people don't know is that those fries, while tasty, aren't as simple or as clean as they seem. They're cooked in refined peanut oil, which is marketed as a healthier option, but the process behind how they're fried tells a different story. In busy kitchens, fries are cooked in large batches throughout the day using the same oil over and over again. As a result, the oil breaks down, which can release harmful compounds and cause cross-flavor contamination from other items cooked in the same fryer. That means even if the fries are technically vegetarian, they can pick up flavors from meat or chicken products cooked nearby, especially in smaller stores where space is limited and fryers are shared. On top of that, the fries themselves aren't just potatoes and oil. They're often treated with preservatives and dextrose, a form of sugar that helps them brown evenly and maintain a crisp texture after freezing and frying. So while they look and taste fresh, they're actually processed to survive freezing, shipping, and reheating. And because peanut oil has a high smoke point, it's perfect for fast food chains to use all day long. But that doesn't mean it's immune to degrading over time. Customers might think they're eating a simple, freshly prepared side, but in reality, those fries are part of a highly engineered system designed for convenience and mass production, not clean eating. When you look at the nutrition facts on Chick-fil-A's menu, it might not seem too bad at first glance. A sandwich here, some nuggets there. It all seems manageable, but the truth is the numbers can be very misleading. That's because the serving sizes listed on the official nutrition information often don't match what people actually eat in one sitting. For example, a single order of Chick-fil-A nuggets might be listed as just 8 pieces, but many customers order 12 or even 30, especially with combo meals or shared trays. The sauces, which are full of sugar, sodium, and preservatives, are also listed per tiny packet, but it's common for people to use 2 or 3 without realizing how fast the calories and additives add up. Same with the fries. A medium fry might look like a modest side, but it can contain more sodium and fat than some full meals at other restaurants. And while the grilled items are marketed as the healthy option, they still come with high sodium seasonings and additives to make them taste better. Chick-fil-A's nutrition info isn't technically wrong, but it's based on smaller, ideal portions that don't reflect how people actually eat. This allows the brand to maintain a cleaner image without changing what's really in the food. It's a quiet way of making fast food look healthier than it is, and most customers don't notice until it's too late, especially when they think they're making smart choices. One of the reasons people trust Chick-fil-A's food is because the menu looks simple and clean, the packaging feels minimal, the ingredients seem easy to understand, and the overall vibe is that you're getting something fresher than other fast food. But if you take a closer look, especially at the sauces and dressings, you'll find a long list of preservatives, stabilizers, and artificial colors hiding behind familiar names. Chick-fil-A's famous sauces like Polynesian, honey mustard, and even their classic Chick-fil-A sauce contain a mix of processed ingredients designed to improve texture, preserve shelf life, and boost flavor. These include additives like calcium disodium, EDTA, potassium sorbate, and artificial coloring agents like yellow 5 or caramel coloring. Some of these are found in cosmetics or cleaning products and are used in food not because they make it healthier, but because they make it cheaper to store, easier to ship, and more consistent in appearance. Even their salad dressings, which sound healthy like avocado lime ranch or light Italian, often contain gums, emulsifiers, and preservatives that have little to do with real food. This isn't illegal, and it's not unusual in fast food, but Chick-fil-A rarely talks about it. They rely on their image of wholesome simplicity, knowing most people won't bother to read the ingredients. And since the sauces and dressings are treated like harmless extras, no one expects that they could be packed with more processed ingredients than the food itself. Chick-fil-A is often praised for its polite staff, clean restaurants, and wholesome image, but beneath that surface is a more complicated story. Over the years, the company has faced major controversy over its donations to organizations that have taken strong stances against certain communities, particularly the LGBTQ+ community. While Chick-fil-A has made changes in recent years, including shifting where its charitable funds go, the public memory of those donations hasn't faded. What makes this issue even more sensitive is how the company built its reputation. Chick-fil-A brands itself as a faith-driven business, famously closing all stores on Sundays. That policy alone costs them millions in sales every year, and it's a bold move in the fast food industry. But the same values that have earned them loyal fans have also created serious backlash from those who feel excluded or hurt by the company's actions. While it's up to individuals to decide whether those donations matter to them personally, the real issue is transparency. Chick-fil-A doesn't talk openly about where all their money goes or what causes they support behind the scenes. Customers walking in for a chicken sandwich may have no idea that part of their purchase could be supporting organizations they don't agree with. And when a company stays quiet about its influence but continues to shape the public with a clean, friendly image, it's important to ask what else they might be keeping out of sight. The smiling faces at Chick-fil-A counters have become a big part of the brand's identity. "My pleasure" has become almost a trademark phrase, and customers often praise the service as some of the best in fast food. But what many people don't see is the intense pressure behind those smiles. Former employees have shared stories of strict behavior rules, unrealistic expectations, and burnout caused by trying to maintain perfection in every interaction. Chick-fil-A encourages a culture of extreme politeness and speed, which may sound great on the surface, but it often pushes workers to hide stress, exhaustion, and frustration just to keep up the brand's friendly image. In some cases, employees are trained to prioritize speed and positivity over personal well-being. They're expected to work quickly, stay cheerful at all times, and handle difficult customers with patience no matter what. Some team members have said they felt uncomfortable expressing real emotions or giving honest feedback because they feared it would be seen as a failure to represent the brand correctly. On top of that, the company often promotes itself as offering a positive work environment, but store conditions vary widely depending on location and management. While some employees enjoy the atmosphere, others have reported favoritism, pressure to follow religious values, or a lack of support during high-stress shifts. The result is a company that looks perfect from the outside, but may be hiding serious internal struggles behind the counter. Now that you've heard what goes on behind the scenes at Chick-fil-A, it's your turn to decide. Maybe this changes the way you order, maybe it doesn't, but the next time you hear "my pleasure," you'll know the truth runs deeper than the script. If you've ever worked at Chick-fil-A, had a strange experience, or just started questioning what's really in your meal, drop your story in the comments. We want to hear what you've seen. And if this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe and stick around. We've got more fast food secrets to expose, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.